Look at this, look at that under there. What we've actually found is that there's a situation going on with your meter, and the meter has been, basically it's been bridged. Good morning, good sir, you good? Okay, so we're doing something a bit different today, guys. Today we're going to be rolling around in the life of an electrician, obviously being me. Got a couple of things booked in. We have some faulty sockets. That's actually at my mum's house, because always priority number one is always your mother. So first thing we're going to do is go straight to the wholesalers. After that, we are going on to a fault find. Oh, okay. And I've left the rest of the day clear, because you just don't know how long a fault find is going to go on for. Someone said to me on site, "Cool, you brought your fire extinguisher with you then?" I refrained from taking this onto site now, just because I don't want to get ripped for it. Because I've been thinking about getting one of these. Okay, and it works. It works. It works. Oh no, I shouldn't have done that. Yep, I got it. How's things with you? All good?
Yeah, not too bad.
Thank you very much.
Right. Don't get my slippers in shot.
Don't get your slippers in shot. Oh, please.
I've got an ingrown toenail.
When you're running your own show, you get to do what you want. If you want slippers, you'll have slippers. Oh, go on, my friend. Wow, that shifted. That really shifted. This is a bit over the top. Who fitted this?
Please leave a message.
Mum? Mum? Dad? Anyone? They've left the country. Luckily, as a son, I do have my own form of access. Do I know the code? Yeah, of course I know the code. This video was intended to be an educational piece that showed the life of an electrician. We've had to cut so much of this video because of what's about to happen. So guys, buckle up, because it's about to get pretty tasty. But if you want to see the full uncut version of this video, then we set up a member section for you to view. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, if you're decorating, it's not needed. We can go straight around the side. Brilliant, okay, cheers. Aha, so intermittent tripping of the lights here. Is that the light switch? I don't normally turn things on if I suspect it's what's causing the problem. However, there is a switch spur here. It's not what I'd expect to be doing the lights in here, because you'd expect it to be a light switch, not a switch spur. But there's only sockets and a switch spur, so... Ah, there we go. Okay, it's definitely it. Okay, so to sort of recap on things, what I've been told by the customer, that is that we have ourselves an intermittent lighting issue going on. When the lights get turned on, it trips out the power to the garage. So my first thoughts are, test the lighting circuit first. It doesn't mean it's necessarily it could be anywhere, but it's a pretty good place to start. What's also happening here, which is interesting, is that not only is it tripping out the lighting circuit, taking out the RCD here, it's also taking out the RCBO, which is an RCD unit and a circuit breaker in one unit. It's taking that out down at the house as well. It's tripping that out as well as this at the same time. So I'm going to start from up here, because it seems logical that if it's tripping out here and down there, then it's probably going to be at the further end of the circuit. Firstly, when I enter the garage, the first thing I need to do is identify the switch gear which has the tripping fault. I identify the consumer unit, and I need to see exactly what circuits are inside. Very often, labelling can be done the wrong way, or old labelling can still remain when new circuits have been in position, and all sorts of things. So it's always important to do your checks first to identify your circuits to be sure. So my main test I do in this situation is the insulation resistance test. This test is looking for any low resistances between cabling, because that is typically what will make the circuit trip out. We've made a great video going into great depth about all the tests involved with fault finding. If you're interested in watching this video, then I've left a link in the description down below. So I've identified the circuits. I want to build a plan of what's been going on here. So I've spoken to the customer, and they said that the lights, when they are turned on, after a couple of minutes of being on, they trip out. It hasn't happened since we've been here. It may happen in a minute, it might not. It's irrelevant. So what we're going to do is we're going to test the lighting circuit. But what they've said is that since they've had a fridge plugged in up here, the lights have then tripped out. So naturally, I start my testing with the lighting circuit, but the lighting circuit is completely clear. So now it's a process of elimination. I check every circuit, and I find I've actually got a low reading on the socket circuit, which is interesting because it's not the circuit I was expecting it to be. 0.04, okay. So it's not a dead short, but it's ever so close to a dead short. There's just a few sockets here. Hopefully they're not behind me, behind all this madness. one of those where you just please let the sockets just be here.
So luckily in this garage there's only 3 sockets. It's a process of pick one and see if it's that one. So of course it wouldn't be the first socket that I go to, but then after taking off the second socket we found this.
Oh, look at that. Well, that's a pretty obvious sign to me. We've got a beautiful, lovely neutral snag here. The power's off at the minute, so it's all good. Look at that. What has happened there? The copper has been bitten into just slightly, just a little bit. Yeah, okay. Yeah, you can see that when that's screwed back, what's happened here is this faceplate screw has gone straight back. That neutral cable there has been sat behind this lug here. So that screw has gone straight through there and it's skagged straight into that neutral right onto there, causing that short. Unless there's another fault.
Luckily with this fault it was an easy fix. All I had to do was re-terminate the socket and I was good to go. So typically, if you have an RCD down at the mains position and again at the garage, if you have a fault, typically they will both trip at the same time. What we need to be sure of is that there's not an underlying issue somewhere else further back on the circuit.
Right, so we can now vacate the area. We're going to go down to the mains and test from the mains position back up to this position here.
So guys, from this point forwards, do not attempt to replicate anything that you see. It's highly illegal and incredibly dangerous. It must never ever be attempted by anyone.
Well, let's start, shall we? Baseball bat, always, obviously. Avoid putting cardboard at your mains position, paper. Guys, I've seen some really bad things happen in the past where people have put stuff in there and there's been a problem with the mains, like the main fuse or in the consumer unit, things spark and arc and all the rest of it. It only takes that ignition to happen and this whole thing could go up. So yeah, let that be known. Avoid putting stuff in your mains area. Okay, so we're gonna have a look at the mains consumer unit now. You can see straight away, garage there on the end, on a 40 amp breaker. Great, it's a 6mm cable that was up at the garden. So that's gonna be my point of testing. Let's have a little look on here. So garage circuit on this 40 amp breaker here. Beautiful, beautiful. What I'm gonna do straight away, I'm just gonna isolate that one circuit there just for a second. Simply take out the live and neutral. That neutral wasn't very tight. That was not very tight, to be fair. If you get loose connections, that can add to nuisance tripping of the RCD. When you've got electricity trying to bridge a gap, if you've got a bad connection, that will irritate the RCD and cause it to trip. Insulation, earth to neutral, A691. Yeah, we got over 100 here. Got to bear in mind, everything's switched on now at the other end of the circuit. So it's dark in here anyway before I turn that main switch off because we've already got the mains off down at the house end. We've now isolated it here. So we're now going to test that piece of cable between here and back to the consumer unit. I purely just want to test the main itself. Earth to neutral, 200 meg, earth to live, 200 meg. All the cables are in there nice and firm. There's an awful lot of mains cables in here for some weird reason. Give that a little look in a minute. Big priority. Get the power back on up there. Now go and flick the main switch back on up there. The last thing you want to do is put everything back together here, forget about it, and you've actually forgot to turn the power up there and they've lost all of their fridge and freezer food. Been there, done that, don't recommend it. Let there be lights, here we go. So you've got cables coming in here like that, into the meter, nice and simple, from the main head, into the meter, out the meter, straight up in, and then you've got another one that comes off the main switch head. Normally, guys, in a main switch, you'll always have one live and one neutral straight into the back of a main switch, unless it's been done bodily. You do see it sometimes where cables go into the top of a main switch and then they go off to like a sub-main, feeding a sub-main up the garage or something like that. But not in this case, because it's got its own separate feed. They must be going somewhere to feed some kind of sub-circuit, somewhere normally where you'd have like a rotary isolator or something like that, and it's normally feeding something somewhere. So it wouldn't be, it's unlikely to be going up somewhere in the house, but it's likely to be going somewhere in the garden, possibly to a shed supply, not done properly, not done the right way, but it's the only way to do it without adding like a mains connection block. If you add Henley blocks, then that's where you take a load of mains cables into, straight from the mains position. But the way that this is done, you never ever put more than one cable in the top of the main switch, because it's designed to take one cable in the top of that main switch. So that cable goes behind there, like so, down there, and it actually goes this way. Is there anything? Past the trusty baseball bat. No, nothing there. Okay. I hadn't even thought to look in here. There's probably going to be some sort of like switch gear in here or something like that. And that's exactly why. It makes sense if you're going to expand it straight into here. Shoes. Right, the cables come straight through here. Best thing to do is always just trace stuff out so you can see what's going on. What is this? Oh, look at that. Look at this. Look at that under there. Check that out for some lovely bit of wire in there. Is it live? That's the question. All right, it is live. It is very much live. Wow. Although I've seen everything, guys, so I'll be honest with you, I wouldn't be too overly surprised if it was. Quick voltage check between earth to live there. 236 volts off of a known source. 236. Damn, it is live. Oh wow. 236 volts here. You like that? Look at this. You can literally see the copper there. Look at that. I put my screwdriver on the edge of it there. And look, my screwdriver becomes live with it as it touches it, meaning that anything that touches that, i.e. a finger or something like that, in on that, that's, yeah, potential shock there. I don't quite know what to make about it, if I'm honest with you. Basically, this looks to me like somebody's bodge attempt at adding a submain and how not to do it. So things that would typically be needing a submain are things like if you had an outbuilding outside, you would run a submain to that, meaning it would be a feed that's taken directly from the mains and it's got a switch fuse in line to make it, to protect that cable that runs from the mains position to the, say for example, the outhouse that's at the end of the garden, for example. So I'm thinking this has not been done very well. This wall, I can see these cables go through the wall. So yeah, let's go and have a look. The best thing to do is just go and check it out. Let's have a little look and see what we have. It's interesting because you've got cables. Yeah, you've got all the cables come through the wall, but there's nothing that comes out and up the garden or anything like that. So let's just go back in a minute, have a little. Don't know. Okay. Right, guys, we have kind of just noticed something. I'm not sure exactly what I'm looking at yet, but there's something weird going on. Look at that. Hold on. Oh. That's literally resting on the terminal. Look at that. Hold on, let me. That is not meant to be like that. No. What's going on here? I can see here. There's been something. That should only have one live coming off of the main head. But we've got two lives. You got one there and one there. Yeah, it's live. Straight off that main fuse. Come on, let's go outside. So everything's live. Everything here is live. I've got no neutrals here. Yeah, everything's live. It's all live everywhere. Yeah, so we've only got lives here. We've got no neutrals. It's got direct written on here, and we've got meter written on there. What is going on? Direct meter. Well, best thing to do is turn them off. It's as simple as that. If I just turn them off a minute, see what happens. Oh. All right, so we've got live on the top of these main switches now, nothing on the bottom sides. Nothing on the bottom sides, nothing on that one, nothing on that one. Right, okay, so come back into the house and there's apparently no power in here. And when I put my volt stick on the lives of this main switch, I've got nothing now, nothing. Bearing in mind, all I've done is isolated those main switches on the other side of the wall. The mains remains live here, but it's not live here anymore. And then here, it's live there. You know straight away it's not right. Here's the simple thing, is that we've got two cables coming off the main switch. We've got these cables here, which are just some bodgy connectors with copper on show. And we've got a couple of switches on the other side of the wall that are isolating everything. So something is clearly adrift, and I'm pretty sure I know what it is. but it's a process of elimination, like everything with electrics. You can never just assume. You always must figure out, and then you know. So at the minute, I'm pretty sure I know what I know. What I'm trying to figure out is why the configuration, like why like that? Why not just put a simple link? Why not just put a simple simple link between the meter, or you know, the stuff that people do, they go straight from the main straight to the consumer unit and do it that way. Why like that? So that's what I'm trying to figure out at the minute. But okay, yeah, so obviously because I've turned off those two main switches on the other side of the wall, the other two cables off the load side of those switches are not live now because I've turned them off. So that makes sense why we've got 2 live and 2 not live here. I can't believe this bit. The cable's not even in. It's not even in on a terminal. It's just floating. It's literally, like, it's not even in on the terminal. So, that's now disconnected there. It's now off there. But that one's still live. That one's not live, that one's not right. So 3 out of 4 are now not live. I've got power at the meter. I can see the power going in. Look, there's my volt stick, there. There's the load, that's the main, there's the main side going in to the meter there. I've then got power coming out of the meter on the load side, and then that cable simply goes up. It comes straight up, give it a little wiggle. I can see it comes straight up into the consumer unit. It's live, going up, but yet I got nothing there at all. That's not live. None of that, none of that. But that is. Comes from the mains, through the meter, goes through the back of the consumer unit, bypasses the consumer unit, goes straight out on this blue cable through the wall, and then where it goes through the wall, let's go and have a look. That's not live, but that one is live. That one there, that one there. Right, so that says meter, click that on. Oh, we got lights on. Okay, so we've got live in, live out. What the heck? Now that cable that I've disconnected from that I've just pulled off the top of the diffuse carrier here, bear in mind that's the DNO supply, that's now live. Surely not. I must be getting a bit of backfeed off that or something. Earth to, yeah, I am getting a little something. Yeah, I'm only getting 1.5 volts. I know what I'm trying to figure out here, but I just can't figure it out, if that makes sense. I think I'm understanding. I'm not understanding, but I think I'm understanding what's trying to be achieved here. What I'm going to do in a minute, in theory then, I'm going to now turn this off again, and I'm going to turn it on the other one and see what happens. Right, right, off. So that's everything gone off like it did a minute ago. Okay. So I've just turned one off. That was running it. I turned the other one on. Are these interlinked? They're not interlinked. These two main switches are not interlinked in here. They're running completely separate to each other. They both got a feed in and a feed going out off one, and then a pair going off the other as well. I think there's some very kind of clever bridging of the meter somehow, but it's trying to figure out how. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Right, yeah. Damn. That's now under load. It wasn't under load before, but it's now under load, and that's what's making the whole house go on and off. Did you see that? Right, okay. One thing I've noticed as well is that the meter, the red dots, are no longer flashing. Yeah, let's go. It's basically making the difference between whether it's running on the mains electricity or without a meter, or mains electricity with a meter. So I get it now. I need to get it down on paper so I can understand it. But if it's working the way that I think it's working, this is absolutely flipping genius. I've never seen it in 25 years of being an electrician. I've never seen this. I know what's going on here. I needed to work it out first, so it made sense to me before I go saying anything. I've worked it out, so I've got to go and, yeah, time to talk to the customer now, this time. Yes, we've got some news. We sorted the fault. The fault was a simple socket issue. There's a scag cable at there. So that is all sorted out now. Great. I've actually come across something else in the property. I take it you said you haven't been here for very long, is it? Like
about 6 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
That would make sense, yeah. What we've actually found is that there's a situation going on with your meter, and the meter has been, basically it's been bridged.
Right, okay. What does that mean?
Basically, meaning that obviously it's going to be down to whoever's here before. Well, I'm guessing unless it was you.
Okay, no, we haven't touched it.
Yeah, I didn't think you would have, but basically, and obviously I would never accuse or anything like that. I'm here only to look at things electrically. But the point I'm trying to make is that there's a cable that's been attached to your property, which is bypassing the meter, meaning it's going around the electricity meter. So it means that when it's in a certain state, when it's switched in the right way, it means that it's bypassing the meter, so that you're basically getting free electric. Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah, sounds great, doesn't it? Yeah. So I can disconnect the main part of it off to put everything right, so it's legal and all the rest of it, and to regulation. But I just need to get the DNO to come in, because obviously it is to do with the mains. I just need to verify that everything's all safe inside. So yeah, I'm going to call them out. Yeah, you're not in any trouble. You haven't been here long enough. You've only been here 6 months. It looks like whoever's did it a while ago, and it wasn't even switched on. But it was in a state where it could be switched on, but it wasn't. It wasn't on. But yeah, no problem there. But we just need to get the DNO out to seal up the meter again and make sure everything's as it should be. Gosh, guys, what a day! I cannot believe after 25 years of doing this job, I've never come across that before. Don't get me wrong, I've come across different versions of that, but nothing quite like that. That was ingenious and crazy at the same time. But basically the way we've left this now is that I've contacted the DNO. They're going to come round and they're going to do some checks on their main equipment, make sure everything's okay and there's not more going on that even I haven't noticed or whatever. They're going to then get everything sealed up, finished, jobs are good. Basically we've left that place nice and safe. We've done our bit. That's it, I'm out of there. I'm going home for a beer. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please guys, like and subscribe, hit that bell notification. I'll see you guys in the next one.